Isn't this an amusement park? Welcome to Wonderhill. This is where we always come to play Vanguard. Danji Momoyama, a Vanguard legend who once led Team Blackout. He was a pillar of the night amusement park crew, but now chooses to keep his distance. Others find him hard to read, as nobody can tell whether he is joking around or being serious. Yuki here is... Yes, I'm aware of everything. But first, time to see if you're all you're cracked up to be. Wait, Danji! She is... I know. But this is what I always do. I figure people out by butting heads with them. You know that. Standing in her way was the Tiger of Kaga and Mire's sweet big brother, Danji Momoyama. Hey. His challenger, Satsugatsuka's dominating yet empty leader, Yuki Ichidoji. Empty? I like that look in your eyes. Let's do this.
Cardfight Vanguard, Dia Days.
It's kind of funny that every single Blackout member is just resolved around, hey, what's up? Let's fight. And that's happened, what, 5 times in a row already? But alright. Let's, we actually might want to keep Blaster Dark, now that I think about it. Or Blaster Javelin, I should say. But let's put it back, see if we can get, yep, this. And we won't discard it, just because we do have the main. But, since this is Danji, what the fuck, bro? What the okay, sure. What the fuck, Gra? I ain't doing you no favors. Anyways, since this is Spike Brothers, we will more than likely want to rush them, because that's basically how you play against this deck, is just make sure that they can't final rush, or if they do, their final rush isn't as potent. You just want to rush them first, and also make sure you don't take any damage, or at least not too much damage beforehand, so you can soak up as many hits as possible when it comes to their final rush turn. We're gonna get another Blaster Javelin, which is pretty good for next turn, because we might be able to push him. I'm sorry. He has a D skill? Hello? Other people can use D skills? What the fuck? Okay, that's cool. Oh, I was gonna say we have the Blaster Javelin, so next turn we might be able to push him to like 3, 4, 5 damage. Let's go ahead and guard this attack. And then we'll take the Richard attack and hope we hit a trigger and not have to worry about this Krusty attacking us. I guess I could use the Blaster Javelin. They're gonna hit a Brian, which is a little scary because that means they can give a crit to their Vanguard. We're gonna lose one of our Overlord or Blaster Dragons. Yeah, I think I just should take this. I'm in a really rough spot here because I have no PGs, no way to guard a final rush turn. Alright, that draw trigger might be useful. Let's see. It's actually going to give us our over trigger. So it's possibly the worst possible draw trigger of all mankind. Alright. We've got all of our freaking Blaster Dragons out of the way. That's fine, because they're basically bricks, to be honest. So, at least now we don't have to worry about them. Let's go ahead and whiff here. Call out the Wingle Brave. Use this skill here to retire said Wingle Brave. And let's retire one of these Krusties, I guess. And she doesn't really do too much that's, I think, threatening. Let's call out the main over here. Use her skill to counterblast one. Put this blaster in our soul here. See if we can draw some actual cards. There we go. That's pretty useful. Push this back and then... actually, sorry. Push this up and call this over here is what I want to do. Yep. Let's go ahead and swing in with a Blaster Javelin here. Some guard with the draw trigger. And let's go ahead and swing in with Blaster Dark. Trend Drive. Gonna get Emmeline, which is good for next turn, and then we're going to get a draw trigger, which is fine. Which is gonna give us another Emmeline, which is actually alright. We can do double Emmeline, but considering the way Blaster Dark works, that might not work out, but we'll see. They're unfortunately gonna hit a front trigger, but that's fine, because we hit before even checking the draw trigger. So we should be able to push you here to 4, unless you want to lose a card in hand, which you don't, understandably so. He's going to push Danji to 3 damage, because he's going to heal, as expected. Danji is no chump, that's alright. We definitely have a much more thick and usable hand now, so we should be in a good spot. I'm not expecting him to do too much other than just attacking here. No, he's actually going to throw out the Brian and this other guy. Okay, never mind. Much more offensive turn than I thought. Let's go ahead and guard here. We don't really need Counter Blast anymore, now that we already have the main, and she put the Blaster Dragon into Soul. We don't have any other domains. We have one that we discarded. So we have at most 2 domains we can hit, but not any right now. The other attack is going to be 21. I guess we take this one, so we can use our draw trigger for the other one. Actually, maybe not even worry about it, because we're going to hit the critical trigger. This still hits. I think we'll still use the draw trigger. Or maybe... let's use the draw trigger. I was going to use Emmeline, but I don't think I want to do that right now. I think we're going to save her for later. Alright, have another Drilling Angel. We're going to go ahead and discard our last Blaster here. Let's ride Phantom Blaster Overlord with a crit. Let's go ahead and call out Emmeline. We can use her skill here, but we're not going to hit anything other than maybe a Javelin, unfortunately, which is unfortunate, or a Persona Ride, but none of those came for us. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and end our turn, go into the main phase, take the main and throw her into Bruce here. Throw her like, what is it she has in her hands? Is it just her nails? I don't think it's just her nails. Yeah, the skull thing at him. Go ahead and attack here. Use these skill to retire these two. I almost forgot that I have to retire things. Thank God I had this column. And I boosted with it, because I was going to not boost with it, thinking like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll just use the Javelin for, you know, Blaster Dark when it comes out, but that's stupid. Let's go ahead and boost up Emmeline here. And we will not use this skill, because we're not going to hit an over trigger in order to enable drive checks. Danji's going to use their PG here. Just got another draw trigger. She has a lot of those. Gonna hit a heal trigger, which would have been nice if we attacked first, but that's just how that be. Let's buff up Blaster Dark, because Emmeline's already going to hit 30. We're going to get a Javelin, which is nice. We don't have a very good defensive hand here, so I have to hopefully end the game or cause them to lose a couple more cards here. Alright, so let's see what they check. A heal trigger, alright. I was gonna say, if they don't check anything, I could go in, try and go for game, but I think what I'll actually do here is we're gonna take out the Brian, because I don't want to deal with a crit if he's going to ride into grade 4 Bruce. Now he's in Final Rush. It sucks. He has a cool like chant for Final Rush, but the Persona Ride one overrode that. Alright, I think we just have to take these first attacks here. There we go. Try and get some damage to buff us up here. I want to try and guard with the Blaster Dark. We can use Emmeline as well if needed. It's not going to boost, which means I can double intercept here, because I can bring back Blaster Dark for my drop. And I can bring out Emmeline for my hand here. It's just going to give him power, yeah, that's fine. I'll hard guard. Wait. Oh. When a rear guard is stood, this gets power, so he's gonna get power twice. Oh. I had no idea that's how that card worked. That's actually not horrible. Let's go ahead and OT this. We're gonna have to hard guard the right side. Oh, fuck. That's exactly what needed to not happen. Okay. Well. That sucks. We kind of need a heal trigger to survive this. Alright, that's not it. And it's unfortunately a critical trigger. Would have been really cool, but okay, I guess never mind. We're gonna get our ass beat by Danji. It would be nice if, like, for some of these fights, you didn't have to fight the character over. It's kind of like, oh, okay, it just progresses. Because it's not like the story changes much if I win or lose, right? Oh, I could have swore he was gonna check the over trigger. My god. I feel like I had that game won since like my first grade 3 turn, and it was just like, nope, I'm gonna heal, nope, I'm gonna heal, nope, I'm gonna heal. But, oh well, I guess it's Danji. I'll give you one piece of advice. You need to stop vanguarding for the sake of others. Hmm? I promise you, you'll come to regret it one day if you don't. You need to fight for your own sake, nobody else's. I'll admit it, that was a good fight. I understand that you're not the kind of person who would come to crush us. In other words, she's all good. Touya Ibata, leader of Team Blackout, a skilled fighter who was dubbed a rising star for his success in official tournaments. He then disappeared from the scene, before later returning to prominence in unofficial circles. I was the first one to take note of her. It was Touya. Interesting. So we're gonna get Danji's deck here, or his recipe. We're not gonna get a card from that. In the Overdress anime, in between seasons 2 and 3, or I should say at the end of season 1, Touya becomes the leader of Team Blackout. Then in between seasons 2 and 3, Yuki becomes the leader of Team Blackout, and they never explained or showed how that worked. And it'd be kind of cool if they did that in the game, but I have a sneaking suspicion that's not going to be the case. Well, let's see.
Danji.
Sorry for all the trouble, Danji. So, you're Yuki Ikidoji. I of course knew that Kanji sent you to look into us, but regardless of that, I wanted to fight you ever since I saw that stream. Why would you want to fight someone like me? Because I wanted you to realize something. That you have no sense of self. Damn, bro. Motherfucker just shows up, roasts the fuck out of me. Vanguarding for the sake of another is a wonderful thing. But, what about your own desires? You need to take care of yourself, too. That's all that I'm able to do, though. Even you can take hold of... No. No, I want you to seize it for yourself. I want you to have a Vanguard you can call your own. That's cool. I can kind of relate to Yuki in this sentiment. Not so much that I was vanguarding for others, but there was a good period of my life where I just kind of lived and did things for other people specifically without so much taking myself into consideration. And I think that wasn't the best decision. It wasn't like horrible, I didn't suffer any crazy consequences, but I definitely could have taken better care of myself and thought of myself better and, you know, fought for myself and stuff like that, rather than constantly putting others in front of myself. While being selfless and, like, thinking of others is great, you also have to, you know, think of yourself, right? You can't help others if you can't help yourself. And we see Touya here has got the D skill as well. I think it's a see it again in the Danji fight, but, or at least the second fight with Danji that I had to do because I lost him the first time. But, I guess we can discard the second Drilling Angel here. It's kind of interesting that they do have these skills. We're gonna whiff. That they do have D skills. I was hoping that that would be kind of a thing, because other than that, there's only, for Vanguard at least, the only way you can make the game hard is just make your opponent get really lucky and sack triggers. But I'm glad they've managed to add something like that. Let's call out double Javelin here. Yeah, let's call out Drilling Angel. I could have put Javelin here, which is probably what I should have done, but I don't know how this is going. Typically for playing against Bastion, they don't have anything, because their whole hand is grade 3s, maybe a trigger or two, but he didn't check that. So they typically can't guard or do anything, because they can't even play out units, because they're all grade 3s, until way later in the game. So I'm assuming I'm going to be able to push the crap out of him, but it's going to be similar to the Danji fight I had off screen, where he's just going to check triggers out the wazoo in order to stay in the game and somehow justify his clusterfuck. But that's just all grade 3s. Like, I'm sorry, Bastion players, like, I get it. I don't get it, I'm lying. I don't get it. I don't get how your deck is supposed to be super good. How it's supposed to function when it's just fucking grade 3s. You're supposed to pray to get your prime and then restand your whole board. Like, yeah, sure, that's threatening, but like, to get to that point, like, oh man. Like, to be able to do literally nothing turns 1 and 2. Other decks, they have the option to like do it. It might not be optimal, but they'll be like, alright, maybe I can play this grade 1 or whatever. You know, I can play grade 2, do something. Bastion is like, no. What option do I have but to get pounded in the face and then grade 3 maybe do something and really only be threatening usually until grade 4. But thankfully that's not going to break through. I could guard this next attack as well, but I think I want to try and use this in the main, maybe, depending on what we draw here. Because you definitely need more cards, but I don't want to use don't want to lose Emmeline. As I say, as I'm gonna have to discard Emmeline. Let's go ahead and call out in the main here. Let's go ahead and use her skill. Let's, I guess, put the critical trigger into Soul and keep Emmeline. Actually gonna draw into possibly the worst cards yet again. The draw is fine. Everything else not as much. I guess we can retire the draw trigger and Drilling Angel maybe. So let's go ahead and attack with the draw trigger and the main here. Alright, it's gonna use the draw trigger to guard. They have a front trigger in hand because they just checked it. Let's go ahead and attack unboosted here. Oh. Probably gonna need to use that front trigger for this attack here. I'm surprised they didn't check a trigger here to save themselves. Let's go ahead and swing in here with PBO and get rid of, no, not the main, actually, the draw trigger and Drilling Angel, so we can still get an extra attack here. And call out the Blaster Dark over here. It's gonna use 2 front triggers to block this attack. That's a massive guard there. If I had my ulti, I might be able to hit that. But let's go ahead and power up Blaster. Well, if I can get a crit, I might be able to win the game here. Nah, instead we got a heal trigger that will not activate because we've been pushing hard. Because they have at least 2 grade 3s in hand, and I don't think they can guard this huge 45k attack just using those 2 front triggers already, right? Let's go ahead and push him here. Thanks to that OT, actually, we have some decent guard. Actually, not going to be like Danji and check every heal trigger here, but we'll see on their offensive what they do. I like Toya's voice actor in this game, which just feels a little more quiet than some of the other characters, but that's it. That's what I mean. Like, this is usually all that it is on their first, like, grade 3 swing. It's just fucking call out Alden and, like, maybe do 1 attack and hope to get a grade 3, maybe do an extra attack, push your opponent to like 3 maybe, but that's about it. Alright, so he's looking kind of threatening for next turn here. He didn't check. Oh, he did check a grade 3, but he decided to attack with Bastion first for whatever reason. Because this is only during my turn. Oh, okay. Because you could have reached this, but hey, whatever. Can I do this and this? Yeah. And then we can call the Erase Rod Angel to get a unit that I can retire. And then retire that in Blaster Dark. I guess we can call Final Turn, but every time I call Final Turn, the computer cucks me and doesn't let me actually do Final Turn. So let's end turn, end phase without writing. Let's call out Erase Rod Angel here. Try and use her skill to Soul Blast out this critical trigger with the top card of our deck. Ooh, that's a nice hit. Let's go ahead and put this here. And I want to call out Emmeline. I guess we can call out Emmeline here. Retire Blaster Dark. Sure, we can go ahead and use her skill, Soul Blast out this. And we will whiff as per usual, which is perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and end phase and go to battle here. Swing in with a gold 23. Alright, there's the front trigger that they checked. Got a Pride to protect. And I think an Alden. No, Alden's in damage. I don't know what else they have. But and swing in here with PBL. Go ahead and use the skill to retire this column. Now that we're actually on grade 3, or my opponent is on grade 3, I should say, I can actually give 5k, or sorry, an extra 10k to both my units here. Let's go ahead and use Emmeline. Power herself up a little bit. And we won't use this skill, because again, we have our OT in hand. They're actually going to guard with their own OT. I have no way to break through that, but I will be able to hit a crit, which we'll give to Emmeline, because we love Emmeline. And I do have a lot of guard for next turn. Granted, I don't think it's enough for a Bastion Prime turn, but I don't know if they even have Bastion Prime. Let's go ahead and split up our guards, our power and crit here. 1 for each. See if they've got 2 PGs in hand. Use Emmeline to make her stronger. If they don't have PGs, then I don't think they're going to be able to guard both these attacks here. There's 1 PG. See what they discard. It's going to be the draw trigger. And let's see if, as per usual, whenever I call Final Turn, if I'm going to get blocked here. Yep, with the last PG. I knew it. That's why I don't want to call Final Turn, because they always find a way. If it's not healing, it's blocking with PGs in hand, which is fine. I don't see them being able to do too much this turn. They actually got the Alden, but they're not going to be able to use the skill, I guess. Alden's going to puff himself up. We should be able to get through this relatively fine here. Let's guard that attack. Let's guard here, because even if they check OT crit, put it on another unit, we should be fine. Alright, just 2 grade 3s. So you only have 2 grade 3s in hand and then 1 other card. Just possibly a PG, but that's about it. Gonna discard 1 of the grade 3s you draw to restand Alden. You're gonna swing in here. We'll guard. The heal trigger. And then Alden, not Owen. We'll swing in here. And we will guard that as well. Show complete dominance here against Toya's last stand, because Unless this card magically turns into another PG. You don't really have anything else that you can do here. Let's call this out. Let's end our phase here and just swing in here. Possibly for game. Use Emmeline's skill. Yes, even if they heal, we should be fine. Because I can swing in with a crit after that. There we go. That was a little bit more expected. I don't know how I lost that first match against Danji. Considering I have a very aggressive deck, I should have pretty much rushed him down, and then like in the second attempt, I was able to go first and then retire the mat, so he actually couldn't Soul Blast on his first final rush turn, but for some reason he just kept healing, so I couldn't stay in there. There was a time in my life when I hated Vanguard, but then Vanguard taught me who I really was. A person can try to fake all they want, but they can't fake a fight. Just like you right now. I'm sure you'll be able to find a Vanguard you can ride on your own. You've done so much for the sake of others. I think it's time for you to act for your own sake. I know that Vanguard will be there to support you. I think it's the same. Thank you so much. We're not done yet. I'm looking forward to fighting you again after you find your own Vanguard. Don't worry, Yuki. I'm sure you'll be able to do it. You won't beat me next time, Yuki. You better not forget our promise, okay? You guys, thanks. I'll give it my best. There she goes. Okay then. Want to keep going? I guess we're not done either, huh? I may have given you my spot as leader, but not my spot as #1, Touya. I like how you think. Bring it, Danji. So, unfortunately, they didn't do anything like that. I guess that would be like a spoiler for the anime, if that were the case, or something of the sort. Looks like we've got Rasen here at the train station. We've also got a couple of free verses here. Interesting. Me, fighting for my own sake. Rasen! I'm sorry for always asking you to do so much for me. You've been protecting me this whole time, haven't you? What? Some part of me kept comparing myself to you. I can't do anything on my own. I was always running. But now, I've made up my mind. I won't ask you for any help any longer. From now on, I want to fight to become the person you want to be. What? Wait. Oh, okay. Whew! Thought the grammatical errors kicked in, but no, I just can't read. From now on, I want you to fight to become the person you want to be. Thanks to everyone, to Vanguard, I finally realized what I need to do. I'm not running away from myself any longer. Thank you, sis. I'm going to be the one to make my own dreams come true. And I'll prove that it's possible. In a fight. Hold on, Rasen. You can't say that first. What? I feel the same way. I'm gonna make my own wish for myself. And make it come true. Yes? I'll prove that in a fight. You know, this kind of reminds me of our first fight, doesn't it? Yeah. And I'm going to win this one too. If you think I'm the same person I was then, you're sorely mistaken. This fight, no lose intended. Alright, Rasen, let's show you what we're all about. I've spent some time with Team Blackout, and they've taught me a lot. Most importantly is to fight for my own sake, and to Vanguard for my own sake. And I've finally discovered my real, true Vanguard. I'll show you that with this brand new deck. Let's go ahead and put back all of these cards. Thank you for spoiling the deck already. Persona Ride Graham Grace. Let's go ahead and take on Rasen here. And we're gonna ride into, I guess let's discard the heal trigger here. And draw for going second. We got Shadow Bolt Archer Lisana here. I'm using her as my grade 1 because every ride line in Keter Sanctuary sucks big fat booty. I'm probably gonna, for like my I guess competitive list, I'm probably gonna do Marin and Blaster Dark, but for the sake of the story, we're actually gonna just use Shadow Bolt Archer Lisana here because you don't get too much value from any other ride line, honestly. You just get at most triple drive at the cost of counterblast and losing the Wingle that you call out. So we're just gonna stick to that for now until we get something better. This deck is very interesting. It's very similar to all the decks we've been playing so far in that they're all been very aggressive. I think the only deck that I played that wasn't like very aggressive turns 1 and 2 was Tamayura, which is kind of funny. Let's go ahead and swing in here with Shadow Bolt Lisana, who is just a remnant of a reminder of our dark past when we played PBO and we were edgy for a little bit. We have this nice little combo here where we can use Marin boosted by Painkiller to hit over on grade 1 even if they check a trigger, and I don't necessarily waste the column because Marin does get a nice 2k when you have 3 units, including herself and the Vanguard, so she becomes 10 plus a Painkiller is 18, so if they check a trigger they become 18. But also I can retire Painkiller to draw a card and then move Marin to the back row afterwards. Oh boy. This is looking pretty real. Rasen's might just beat our fucking ass right now. Alright. He's gonna power up the Momoko token here. Gonna call out the Fletcher. Not really gonna be able to do too much. I mean, she doesn't get power until later. I'm gonna get hit with a lot of attacks here. So we're gonna go guard this with our heal trigger because we kind of want to keep all the other cards that we have in our hand right now. I think we'll guard this one as well. But in general, this deck doesn't do too well early game. Like, I can rush and stuff, but you really don't want to too much because you then have nothing to guard with and you can't really recoup. Like, later in the game, you get into a very big swing of things and you can just, like, draw cards like crazy and have a bunch of cards in hand. But, like, sort of early game and to an extent mid-game, not so much. We're just gonna go ahead and take that, because even if we wanted to, we wouldn't be able to guard that. Fortunately, we are gonna check the critical trigger here. I might end up changing this for a normal crit, a non-effect crit, just because it'll be 5k base. Just because of Graham Grace's skill, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And I guess I'll discard Marin here, and we're gonna go into Emmeline, the Knight of Inheritance Emmeline, because I fucking love Emmeline, and as I mentioned, there are no other good units that you can use. I don't like calling out Ecclesia early, but alright, he's being protected by Arthlin here, because she's a good backup, or sometimes even the main target for Graham Grace, but again, we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's just go ahead and swing in here with Emmeline. I had considered building like a Blaster Graham Grace deck. I might still give it a shot. See if that's even possible. Using like the Blaster Blades to like attack and Emmeline to call them out. Let's get rid of Relinda here. And then powering Emmeline that way. But it just doesn't feel like I'll get a lot of return on my investment there. Let's actually take out the Fletcher here, because you don't really have a lot of cards in hand. But I want you to have a lot of rear guards, and Fletcher can get kind of big. So that evens up the score a little bit. Gonna discard the Inlet Pulse, even though you have a Spiritual Body and damage, not in hand, I think. And use a skill to call out 3 tokens, I'm assuming. And then probably, Momoko is probably gonna eat those. Boost him up to 20k. Call out another Relinda and another Inlet Pulse, fair enough. This is annoying. We don't have to worry about retire, so we can guard here with Arthwin. but I'm probably gonna have to take these next 3 attacks, which is gonna push me pretty freaking hard. I could guard this with a 1-tap ass, but it doesn't seem worth it. Yeah, definitely would not have been worth it. Unfortunately, gonna hit a draw trigger. I wish I could have hit a draw trigger, because I could use some cards as well. Thankfully not a critical trigger, they just have a draw, some card I don't know, and a Persona Ride in hand. Fortunately, it's going to be a Painkiller, which could give me cards in hand, but now she's in my damage zone. Yeah, I'm just going to have to take this, and as well as take the Raylinda attack. They will be out of soul, but they will be able to get soul next turn from Persona Ride. I do hit the heal trigger, which is nice, because at least we won't be pushed to 5. We'll still get pushed to 4, because I still cannot block the Raylinda here. I do hope they do possibly update the AI to just be a little, I guess, I don't know, careful or something, or be more reserved, because when there's an effect to activate, they'll just do it most of the times, whether or not it's the right thing to do or not. We're gonna play it risky here, discard critical trigger to ride into our true Vanguard, Sword Saint Knight Dragon Graham Grace. I'm so glad he doesn't have the curse of a lot of the other dragons in this game, where it's like double dragon, where it's like I think like Inlet Pulse is a good example, because it's like Blue Artillery Dragon, Inlet Pulse Dragon. I'm so glad Graham Grace doesn't fall under that. Let's call out here the Forsato Knight of War. I think it is War Damage Forsato with the skill of Graham Grace, which says Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw 1 card, call 1 unit from our hand to the back row rearguard circle. This unit can attack from the back row this turn, and it gets an additional 10k. So that's why Ecclesia here is pretty good, because if she has a grade 3 in front of her in the same column, or in the same column as her period, I should say, if she put her here, it'll be in front of her, she can get 5k. So she's a nice little backup if I don't have Forsato, because usually I use Forsato to get resources, but she can also just be like the main target, considering how well she works in this deck. Let's go ahead and I guess get rid of Raylinda again. I don't have to deal with that nonsense. He might not have... oh no, he did use the Impulse Armor. I was gonna say he might not have enough soul for it next turn, because he's gonna want to use his skill to get tokens. We're gonna get a heal trigger, which is massive, just solely for the fact that we will be able to have some shield value for next turn. But we really need to get ourselves a PG here. There we go. Ask and I shall receive. There we go. So much like Farniel, which is Kanju's ace, Yuki has her own ace that was released for this game, which is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and attack with Forsato here. Alright, still no trigger, very good. We can use Forsato's skill to Soul Charge here. Hopefully nothing too crazy. Unfortunately, it was a crit. Then we can use the final skill of... or maybe not the final skill. He has one more skill that's yet to be revealed. But the unit that attacks from the back row goes into the soul and we draw 1 card. And next turn we can see Graham Grace's final skill here. We got ourselves Knight of Trident Gerald here, who gets 5k whenever he's boosted. So you can get pretty huge considering we have like Marin and stuff. Alright, Rossin unable to get any defensives this turn, but let's see, they got a big turn coming here. They have a decent amount of soul as well as the Persona Ride buff. Decent in only having 2 soul, but yeah. Alright, 3 tokens. Momoke will eat all 3. Go back to 20k. Call out the Laika here, as I like to call it, Unalive Dog, because it will unalive itself to give a unit, maybe it'll be rear guards. Yeah, rear guard, 10k. Gonna call out a 3rd Raylinda. How many times I killed her? She just keeps coming back. Alright, gonna attack with the Fleche here. We're gonna go ahead and guard that with our critical trigger for 28. Go ahead and attack with the Vanguard here. I think... sorry about that, controller got weird. We're gonna PG this one. And discard the Arthwin. Actually gonna hit a heal trigger here, which is gonna heal. Give them a heal on hand, so we're definitely not gonna be able to end the game next turn. Especially with that PG in hand, unless we manage to hit the over trigger. Got a massive 40k attack coming in here. Got no choice but to take. Thankfully, we do hit a draw trigger that gives us some cards in hand. It's going to be the Arthwin. Very good. Arthwin is also very good in his deck. She's going to use her skill, Soul Blast 1. Run out of soul, but hit us with a massive 60k Relinda here. Yeah, I'm using Ecclesia, which just kind of sucks. Arthwin kind of does about the same thing. Ooh, okay. So let's go ahead and Persona Ride. And you can see the final ability of my Graham Grace, where if I Persona Ride, my back row units will also get the power buff. So let's go ahead and use our first skill here to Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw 1 card, and interesting. I guess we can call it the Fasado. Not that we would necessarily need it, but it doesn't really help me as much as Intercepts do in the front row. Let's call the Arthwin here in the front row, because you can actually get 5k if I Persona Ride this turn, so he's slightly stronger than Ecclesia. We'll go ahead and attack here with our Vanguard first, in case we can get an OT and do so many drive checks. Unfortunately, we're just gonna get nothing. So we're actually looking in a pretty bad spot for next turn here, which is not good. Ugh. Let's yet again get rid of Relinda, even though I know he doesn't have any soul. But she needs to go ASAP. Alright. I know I can't kill him this turn, even though he just used the PG. I highly doubt that I can go in for game, but alright, let's give it a shot here. Let's attack with Fasado. They are going to hit the heal trigger, of course. They won't be able to heal, thankfully. Going to use Fasado's skill to countercharge and so charge a Fasado. And then use Graham Grace's seal to put that same Fasado into her soul and draw the over trigger. Well, at least we do have shield value, so there's that. Let's get rid of Fleche here, and I have a sneaking suspicion he has enough cards to guard here. So let's get rid of this. I think he won't be able to do too much this turn. Yeah, no Persona Ride. Just swing in here. This can only attack if you have Relinda. So we're actually going to PG this here, because knowing Rasen, he will very graciously hit us with the OT. Like he did on our first match in the tutorial. And I'm not going to fall for that this time, Rasen. I'm ready for you. Go ahead, check the OT. Alright, he didn't check the OT. That's fine. We still perfect guarded. So he has a couple of cards in hand. I think we can actually call final turn now. Go ahead and ride with a Persona Ride. You draw into a draw trigger, which is fine. Go ahead and use your skill to counter blast, soul blast a Fasado. I wish I could fit another painkiller in here, because I usually have so much soul sometimes. That is a pretty unfortunate hit. Let's go ahead and call out Fasado. And Ecclesia, as much as I love you, we're gonna have to overcall you for this Marin here. Alright, let's go to battle. Our weakest unit is actually our Vanguard, so we'll swing with that first. They did have a PG, which they would have used last turn. Let's see if we can check. I don't think I've checked a single trigger, to be honest. Nope, I'm pretty sure I haven't checked any triggers. I might have checked maybe a heal trigger. No, I think that was all defensively, honestly. Let's go ahead and here. Oof. Guard with almost every card in hand here. Use Grand Grace to put Fasado into the soul and draw 1 card, which is going to be a critical trigger. And these guys both have the same attack power. Both 20k boosters, bumping them up to 40. And then we can use Gerald's skill to get an extra 5k here for 45. That should be the game outside of... Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, I mean, if they hit a heal, I could have hit over that. With the Arthur column, but if they hit over trigger, then no. And I don't even care, because I'm sure I would have survived. It's just the fact that I would have called final turn and not been able to get the final turn buff. Or VP buff, which, where is it? Successful final turn, yeah, there we go. So.
Yuki,
this is a request from your mother to daughter. Please, live freely. Live how you want to live. I know you'll be able to make it just fine, Yuki. Yuki? Of course, all this time I'd forgotten. What? It's nothing. Looks like you were right all along, Vanguard. It's about finding a brand new side of yourself. It wasn't all easy, but I'm glad I got to meet this side of myself. Why don't we head back? Back to all our friends. Yeah. That's nice. I got ourselves the D skill, My Hope. Well, that's Rawson's deck recipe. And also we've got Yu Kondo's story. Very cool. We also regained our own Vanguard, and we can now use D skills. Too bad I've gone through all of the free verses that were available, because I thought that they would not be available afterwards. But that is fine. I don't really need that much VP. Let's take a look at what is... Oh, I can select my character. Interesting. You can enjoy the adventures of not just Yuki Ichiroji, but Rasen, Yo-Yo Kondo, Danji, and Touya Ibata. With side story. I wish they didn't. I wish they just said "and more," because that just makes it sound like there's just never going to be any more stories. But alright. You can play in the various stories by changing the character you're controlling. The character you're controlling can be changed from the map screen. In addition, the deck you're using does not change even if you change the character you're controlling. I mean, yeah, because you have to select the deck beforehand. But we only have Yu here. No one else, I don't know. So we unlock them. So that's kind of cool. But I wanted to take a look at the D skill here. Jamming reduces the chance of your opponent to get a trigger if you have 4 more damage. That's kind of cool. And this disables your opponent's D skill effect. That's kind of cool too. Very cool, very cool. Really like D skills. I wish there was a way to like use them in I wish they expanded on it a little bit more and let you use them in ranked, like in its own ranked form, obviously. Not like you just have to use it or you're screwed. But I wish you could like mess around with that in its own way. But alright. In any case, that'll do it for today. And next time we'll go over to Card Shop Olsen and see all of our friends. But until then, take care of yourself, play Vanguard, and have yourself a damn good one.